Howdy, this is Doc Lucky's Yo-Yo Talks New Year's Eve special. Most shows don't go on New Year's Eve because everybody's out partying, but with COVID-19 going on, there's a lot of very sad people at home looking for some fresh content to watch, and I'm going to give it to you. So please feel free to start drinking right now because this episode is best viewed under the influence. Tonight, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to do a walkthrough of my yo-yo collection. This yo-yo collection, as you probably know, is the Guinness World Records largest yo-yo collection. And we've got a lot of yo-yos and other cool collectible stuff to see tonight. But before I get started, I just want to remind you, you only have a few hours to get your nominations in for the National Yo-Yoing Hall of Fame. I've been talking about the nominations for the last few months on this show, so you're down to the wire now. If you are planning on nominating somebody, you only get one nomination. Do it now. The links are available in our Facebook group, and it's also on several other Facebook groups as well. So get those nominations in. Sometime near the end of our walkthrough, I'm going to have a lightning round trivia contest, so be prepared. The winner of last week's lightning round was, look at the name right up there on the screen. That's our winner. They took home that very cool Christmas prize package, which you can see spinning around there. The trivia question last week was, in regular Scrabble, there are 2 Y tiles, 2 blank tiles, and 2 O tiles. How many times can you play the word yo-yo in one game? And the answer is, of course, none, as the hyphenated words are not used in Scrabble and the word yo-yo does not appear unhyphenated in the Scrabble dictionary. So there you have it. So here is our prize package for the lightning round, which will happen sometime near the end of the walkthrough of the collection. We've got a lot of good stuff here tonight. Brand spanking new Duncan cap. It looks like we have a freehand yo-yo mint in package. We've got a Duncan Skyhawk. We've got a Yo-Yo Trivia Champion shirt, if you have not won before. And of course, an Evil Lucky Yo-Yo. The last one we'll be giving out this year. And a reproduction Duncan Wooden Butterfly. So a lot of good stuff here for that lightning round. That's going to happen near the end of the show here. And so we'll jump right into our walkthrough of the collection now. All right, I thought I would start our walkthrough here with my largest yo-yo. This used to be the Guinness World Records largest yo-yo. It's 6 feet tall, weighs 820 pounds. It was made in 1990. It's still mint in package. But they made this in a high school shop class. It did yo-yo off of a crane. I think the crane was 80 feet tall. And you have to have the yo-yo actually yo-yoing for it to be considered the world's largest yo-yo. So anyway, I think there's been 3 yo-yos that have been built larger than this since then. I don't know how many of the 3 still exist though. So now we're gonna walk into the house here and go up to the yo-yo collection, and we'll take a little tour of that. I started collecting about 30 years ago, and I was pretty good with the yo-yo as a kid, and then I picked it up again when I was in medical school. Just to kill some time in between classes, I found an old Duncan trick book, and I went through and learned all the tricks. And at that point in time, I was about the best yo-yo player I had ever seen. I didn't know anything about the history of the yo-yos, or there were contests or demonstrators, so I was shocked when I found out all the history and how important a piece of Americana the yo-yo was, and that's what fired up my entrance. This is the entrance to the first floor of the yo-yo collection, and as you can see, the walls are entirely covered with old posters. Here's the periodic table of yo-yos. Here's some nice Higby artwork, all kinds of very neat memorabilia on these walls going up these stairs. It's kind of neat to read all this stuff if you ever get a chance to come in and see the collection. I'll point out a few things. I love this print here. This is from the newspaper from 1932. Look at this, $200 for the winner. And that was back in the Depression. That was a crap load of money. And then I've got some really old stuff. This particular print is from 1851. The original print was in 1785, but they still had the plates for it, so they reprinted it. But even the reprint is, a couple of almost getting close to 200 years old now. So that is one of the earlier caricature depictions of a yo-yo. Now, walking over here, I have 32 cases on this floor filled with yo-yos and memorabilia. My favorite case I'm going to start off with right now. This is what I consider my novelty case, or just kind of unusual yo-yo cases. And so some of the coolest yo-yos are in here. This is one of my favorite ones to show. This is a laser yo-yo, and I've had this on the show before. But this actually has it's not a light up where you just have sparkling lights. This actually has a laser in it. Check out on the floor there. You can see the laser beam cutting through my foot right there. And it's up on the ceiling as well, if you can check up there. And that is one cool yo-yo. But you notice on the yo-yo, there's this danger warning sign. And you can't have that on a yo-yo and sell it to kids. So this yo-yo never really got produced, so there were a few prototypes, and I happened to score one of these on eBay. Now in this case here, I've got some other really unique yo-yos, and even a bunch of bandolores. Bandolores are what they called yo-yos before they became yo-yos. I'm going to pull out a couple of different bandolores here. Let me grab this one too. This is interesting as well. So the one with the fine inlay, this is a Tunbridge ware yo-yo. That's from about 1840 in England. This is a roto toy. There are ads for this one. I believe that was around 1910, and this is around 1910. Remember, Flores didn't call it a yo-yo till 1928. And this is from a top set from England from 1890. So we know all of these were bandolores, and that's what they called yo-yos before Flores named them yo-yos in the United States. So we've also got some other really cool items in here that are yo-yos that do other things. We've got this cocktail drink mixing yo-yo. We've got these, this is a real interesting one called a Wham-O Yo, which I believe was a horizontally thrown yo-yo. I've never seen it. Nobody's ever been able to identify. I don't know if this is from the Wham-O company, but very, very unique and unusual. This rock-shaped yo-yo here was a production yo-yo prop from the movie Flintstones, the Viva Rock Vegas. That's a couple decades old now. And then we got other really cool yo-yos in here. I've got the, this is a fire yo-yo. It actually has Kevlar string, and you can light it on fire. This one here is got a compartment here for grinding your medical marijuana. So there you have that. So that wasn't legal when I got it, but it's legal now. And probably the coolest thing I have in this case is this little book here. And I'm going to show you. This book is very old, and I'm going to open it up and show you. This is dated 1792, and that is one of the earliest drawings of a person with a yo-yo that we know of. And this is the original book. You've probably seen that image around various places, but that's where this book comes from. It's a French book. And we got yo-yos that make ice cream, yo-yos that blow bubble, and just a ton of other, here's a yo-yo that was a soap dispenser. So when you got done with the yo-yos, you could use it, done with your baths and you emptied it out, you could use it as a yo-yo technically. Then you've got some of these rare ring yo-yos. Now this is one of my favorite. This is a siren ring yo-yo. I think the siren fell out. I do have the siren somewhere. This baby sells for like $300-400 in the ring collector. So that's one of the cross collectibles there. Then some of the original stuff. Here's Tom Coon's first Silver Bullet 2, and then there's a couple of those MGs when they came out at one point. They were the most expensive manufactured yo-yos. I'm just looking at some of the other cool things. And then all the different type of materials that yo-yos have been made out of, from ivory, silver, glass. You've seen some of these yo-yos on the show. Aluminum, coffee beans, silicon, styrene, candy, paper, foam rubber, you name it. They've made yo-yos out of it. So anyway, I think this is one of my funnest cases because it's got so many weird, bizarre yo-yos in it. Where is that? There's that one yo-yo. Well, I've got too many yo-yos in here. I can't always find all the ones that I want to find. But anyway, that's that case here. So the next case is just cases. I have a bunch of boxed yo-yos in here. These are all the yo-yos in their original cases. And there's a couple I wanted to show you. One is this, and most of you haven't seen this because this is a pretty rare Yomega. That is the jewel. It actually has a jewel in it. That was a special order item. Not many collectors have these. That is a cool Yomega to have. Then they had the collector's gold metallic missile, which they only made 200 of. And there's a lot of other very cool yo-yos here. A lot of them most of these are 20 plus years old, and a lot of different American spinners. I really thought the American spinners were cool, especially the ones that were jeweled or had the holograms and different things. And check that one single jewel yo-yo out there of American spinners. That's pretty cool. So a bunch of packaged yo-yos. Then we get over to, again, one of my other things that I like to collect is yo-yo figurines. And everybody says, well, how many figurines could there possibly be with yo-yos? Well, at least enough to fill a full case up. And I love these yo-yo playing animals. I'll wind one up for you there. And they're playing off-string yo-yo. So anyway, I have 5 of the 6. There is actually a 6th yo-yo playing animal. It's actually a baby playing a yo-yo. And so that's the one I'm missing. But all these are figurines that have yo-yos associated with them, and a few other odd items here. Here is one of the Duncan racers. They made this for a while, I think in the 50s. And you can see the man, Mr. Yo-Yo, is driving the car. There's another racing car too, right here. And again, you have Mr. Yo-Yo on this. This one's called a Duncan merry-go-round. So very cool early Duncan cards there. And then this is a rare one, this Madman Lunchbox. If you're not familiar with the Madman comic book character, he battled evil with, yes, a yo-yo. So I've got some, and there's a Madman yo-yo out there too. The plastic one is relatively common, but that wooden one is really hard to find. So if you've happened to score one of those, you're doing pretty good. Now, this is my string pack collection, and I actually have more than this. I just couldn't display them all. Some very unique and unusual string packs. Of course, my favorite would be this one right here, which is the Flores string pack, if you can zoom in on that. And right next to it is the Roadrunner string pack, also very rare. As far as I know, that's the only Roadrunner string pack in existence. Now we get to my case where we have display boxes full of yo-yos, and most of these are from like the 50s or 60s. We got some real interesting boxes here. I love the artwork. Of course, of these display boxes here, I think the one everybody always keys in on is this Goody Filipino twirler. That is the most expensive item, theoretically, I have in my collection. Now, I traded for that several years ago, but one of these boxes sold on eBay for $6,500. I don't think it would bring that now by any stretch, but some of these are very unique. This is the only vertical display of the Imperials that I've ever seen. This is the only display box I've ever seen of the electric flashing light yo-yo. That's a Duncan from 1952. This preceded the ones that we're thinking of that were made by Festival. So 1952 for flashing light yo-yos. And then, of course, you have your naughty yo-yos, the executive yo-yos. And those are always fun to collect. And I have a complete set of them. And then we get into interesting award things. So, of course, we're all familiar with the patches and the pins and the trophies and the medals and everything else that they have given out over the years for yo-yo contests. Some of my rarest ones would be this Twin Twirler award, incredibly rare. And they actually had patches for Twin Twirler contests too as well. There's that nice Tom Kuhn heirloom set you've probably seen before. It's missing a yo-yo. I'm not sure which one we've taken out of there. But these are just some cool items. And you don't see this every day. This is a display counter for Tom Kuhn yo-yos, and that's filled with original Tom Kuhn yo-yos in the box. So a lot of good stuff there, and there's some contest, playground contest packages back in the 70s. They would use those at playgrounds to promote the Duncan yo-yo. So those are complete playground sets, both of the Yo-Yo Olympics and the Duncan yo-yos. Here's Mr. Bandalore. You've seen him on the show before. This is, I'm going to unplug this for a second. This is made out of 603 yo-yos, and you can't see it because there's too much light coming in the window, but those light-up yo-yos are actually flashing on and off. So in the dark, it looks like a Yo-Yo Man Christmas tree, which is very appropriate for the season, I guess. Over here, I have an old container which we have filled with counterweights. And the artwork on there is Higby artwork. And the interesting thing is he painted one of the things upside down on the column, believe it or not, which is okay because I think it's kind of funny that it ended up that way. So a counterweight display with a lot of Higby art. This is this is a painting they did back in one of the World Championships. The guys were here. They did 3 paintings. They gave one to me, and I'm very appreciative of it. I wish I would have bid on the other paintings that they put up for auction, but I really enjoy that painting. Now, I'm a big fan of character yo-yos. I think you all know that. Here are a bunch of Spectra Star yo-yos. If a cartoon character is out there, he probably has a yo-yo associated with it. Otherwise, it's not a worthwhile cartoon character. So whoever you like as a Saturday morning cartoon, I can almost guarantee we have a yo-yo of him. And so these are all carded ones, character yo-yos, and some of them go back to the 60s. That's when they started getting really popular with these merchandising yo-yos. Now, in this case are some of the loose ones, and I just wanted to point out a couple here that are really rare. If you focus in on these two here, Sean, that's the Mickey Mouse Club and the Jimmy Dodd, who was the leader of the Mouseketeers. Those are wooden yo-yos from 1958. I believe the Admiral Yo-Yo Company had the rights to produce Disney yo-yos. So these are the earliest Disney yo-yos. And cross-collectible wise, if people knew what they were, these will go up in price. So if you see them pop up, grab them when you can, because once the Disney collectors realize what these are, I don't think you're going to touch these for under a few $100s each. Right now, you can still pick them up for 40 or 50 bucks, but those are pretty special. One of my favorites is this Rocky and Bullwinkle yo-yo. This is from the 60s. That was one of the shows I watched on. That was the last show of Saturday morning cartoons. It's got a weird shape, but it actually plays, goes up and down pretty good. It's pretty smooth for a cheap plastic yo-yo. I don't know any history on it, but that is one of my favorite ones. And of course, I enjoy this Snuffy Smith or Snuffy from Kentucky yo-yo. Grew up in Kentucky, and Snuffy Smith was a newspaper cartoon that was popular. And then kind of moving over to science fiction yo-yos. Now this is a knockoff. This wasn't a licensed yo-yo, but I think they made it in the 70s. This is of the Time Tunnel. It's got a little pinball game in it. And the Time Tunnel was my favorite show in the 60s. My parents would threaten me with not watching the Time Tunnel if I was misbehaving. So I was excited, even though I know this is not a licensed yo-yo, to have that yo-yo. So anyway, those are collector's yo-yos, and there's a lot of cool ones there. Then you get into advertising yo-yos, and of course the king of advertising would be the Coca-Cola yo-yos. And I'm just going to blitz through this real quick, and we will, so we've got the figural shaped yo-yos, we've got yo-yos going back, probably these may actually be bandolers. When you see these sharp metal yo-yos like this may have preceded Pedro Flores naming it a yo-yo. And so advertising yo-yos, and then we've got souvenir yo-yos, and I'm gonna make this my last box because I think we've used up about as much time. And I have just so far gotten through about 1/4 of the collection. I'll get back and we'll talk about some other stuff on another walkthrough. We'll have to remember we're right here on the souvenir yo-yos. And a couple things about souvenirs. There are two types of souvenir yo-yos that I absolutely love to collect. One are these photo metallic souvenir yo-yos. This one's still got its price tag at $1.50. This says Puerto Rico on it, but there's a whole host of them. I don't know how many they made, but I think they're really cool because they're these photolithographed souvenir yo-yos, and you can see I've got a whole row of them there. The other ones I like are called rainbow yo-yos. These are wooden yo-yos. Some have bells, like this Brookfield Zoo, which I've never even heard of. But they're made out of wood, and they have these rainbow colors on them. So I'm really into that. And you can see, again, I have a whole row of them. And then, of course, for yo-yo people, here are all these world championship, national championship yo-yos. And the great things about those yo-yos are that they're dated. And those are only going to keep going up in value. So it's just like the World's Fair yo-yos. We've got several different years there going back to 1933. And there is that 1904 bandolore that's out there too. So a lot of fun collecting these souvenir yo-yos. So I think right now what we're going to do, because everybody's getting ready for the trivia contest, I'm going to go on and run the trivia contest. So let's do that right now.
Doc Lucky's Pop Quiz. One shot, one champion. first to answer the Facebook comments wins. Get ready.
Who is depicted on this 1960s yo-yo? His eye patch was listed for sale on eBay for $75,000. You get only one guess. Who is depicted on this 1960s yo-yo? His eye patch was listed for sale on eBay for $75,000. You get only one guess. The winner will be announced next week. Make sure to place your comment. Wait, what am I saying again? Make sure you place your answer in the comments section now.
That was John Meisenheimer VII making his voiceover debut. Okay, that's it for tonight's show. We'll finish at some point in time my walkthrough, but like I said, I only got about a quarter of the way through the collection. The time went really fast. I hope everybody has a wonderful, safe, virus-free New Year's Eve and day. And we will see you next week. I will actually be back with a live show. Not sure of who the guest will be, if we'll have one, but it will be live next week. So Happy New Year's, and we'll see you next week. Remember, you can never have too many yo-yos. This is Doc Lucky signing off until 2021.